Good day. This is a consumer web video that we're recording on behalf of the Illinois State Bar Association's Bench and Bar Council. And our topic is, how do I go about getting a divorce? I'm very fortunate to have as panelists here today two outstanding jurists in our state. First of which is Judge Rosana Fernandez, who sits in the Circuit Court of Cook County doing domestic relations. And at the top right-hand corner of your video is the Honorable Judge Stacy Campbell, who's at the other end of the state down in St. Clair County and handles these type of cases. And I don't know, Stacy, you can say, do you also handle other cases like a lot of the counties do, or just?
I'm strictly family, so family, divorce, and adoption.
Well, good. So at least we have two people on this video that know something about divorce, and I'm not one of them. So let me start out with Judge Fernandez. People that are watching this are Googling or whatever. How do I go about getting a divorce? What would you say to that question?
Well, in Cook County, I think one of the best places to start is the Supreme Court website because it has a lot of the easier forms that you can prepare. One of the biggest or one of the simplest forms to start the case is called the Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. It asks you questions and it's a fillable form. And once you take that form, you file it with the clerk of the court here in Cook County. I can speak to Cook County. And then that's the start of the case. Once you start the case, of course, you need to serve those documents.
How do you go about serving the documents? People might ask. What do you mean by that?
All right. So service of process is basically due process. The other side needs to know that you have started a case. So you will give your document, your petition for dissolution of marriage or for divorce. You will give it to the sheriff, and the sheriff will go hand deliver those documents to the respondent. You can also do it in different ways. You can hire what's called a special process server if you can't do it within a certain period of time, and that person can do it on off hours. If you're unable to locate someone, then service of process can be had by publication, for example, or alternate ways. All you have to do is file what's called an affidavit of due diligence to show the court that you have made your efforts to locate or try to serve the person. And if not, you can file a motion for publication. In that case, you can publish it in the local paper. Most people here in Cook County use the Chicago Daily Law Bulletin, and you publish it once a week, 3 weeks in a row. And then the final date, that's when you are certified and your service is perfected.
So in other words, to bring us to this point, someone can basically go on the Illinois Supreme Court website, print off the document, fill it out, take it down to the clerk's office, have it filed, and then have those papers served on the respondent, which would either be the husband or wife, whoever the petitioner, and the respondent is the person that's being served. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Now, there are fees that may be associated with the filing of the petition for dissolution of marriage. However, if someone believes that they may qualify, you can also file what's called a 298 petition requesting a waiver of those fees. Now, you don't always get 100% waiver, but what happens is that you can get a potential 50% reduction in the fees, or maybe sometimes 25%. It depends on where you land in the salary, but that's certainly something that we routinely see in our courtrooms as well.
And those standardized fees across the state for the filing of a petition, is that right? Do you have an idea approximately what the cost would be just to file a petition and get service?
I don't have the exact number, but I do think that it's approximately in the ballpark of $351 to file the initial petition for dissolution of marriage. And then there's a separate fee once the other party comes in and files their appearance or participates in the case. I think that's somewhere in the ballpark of $250 to $260.
Okay, so roughly $500-600 to get to that point. And if there's an agreement between the parties, how long does it take to get the divorce?
Well, I'm not sure downstate and up here in Cook County, it really does vary. If you have an agreement and all of your documents are ready to go, you file your case, you start your case, and then you immediately want to file what's called a motion so that you can be heard in front of the judge and say, Judge, we're ready. Can you please schedule us for the final judgment? And generally about a 60-day period to 90-day period would be the longest. If you're agreed, you filed your motion properly, and now all the documents are in order. If the case is a little bit more complicated, because sometimes we miss a thing or two, if we have children, you also need to calculate child support. It may take just a little bit longer because there are very specific requirements before you can get the full divorce. And that would include, for example, a parenting class that you have to take online, calculations of child support, and exchange of financial documents, which are all part and parcel of the statute.
But a nice, simple, cut and dry, about 60, 90 days, you can get in and out, right? Okay, let's go to Judge Campbell. Let's assume sometimes these are acrimonious proceedings, divorce is very emotional. If there is no agreement, tell us what the process is, at least down in St. Clair County. And then at the end, Rosanna can say if it's different up here in Cook County.
Sure. So if there is not an agreement, you're going to have an initial case management with one of the family law judges within 3 months. And then after that, we're going to send you to mediation if there are children involved, in which mediation is required under the statute. If the issue is not resolved in mediation, at least dealing with the children, then we will set it for trial. If there are no children at the first court date, I will make sure that the financial affidavits, which are also a requirement in a divorce case, have been filed, and then I will set that case for trial. So generally, if it's non-contested, you could probably get a divorce completed within 4 months. If it's contested, you're probably looking at a year or less.
Okay. Now, another question people will ask when they're searching these kind of websites, do I need to get a lawyer? Judge Campbell, what is your recommendation where there is no agreement?
Well, as coming from a background in the law before I became a judge, I was a lawyer who practiced family law. I always think that it's sage advice for people to seek counsel, the advice of counsel, even if there is an agreement. I think that's why there are lawyers. They understand the law and they want to make sure that they protect you. But if you are unsure where to go to find a lawyer, the Illinois State Bar Association has a website that includes a lawyer referral service. And in each county, there's generally a local bar association that you could seek out to find attorneys that practice family law. Another option, which is my background, I came from managing a nonprofit, Land of Lincoln, which is the downstate Illinois legal aid law firm. You can reach out to the local legal aid law firm in your area to see if you qualify for an attorney. But I would always suggest that people seek the advice of counsel if they are able to do so.
Well, the old adage also is he who represents himself as a fool for a client sometimes, and that may really be true in the emotional setting of a divorce where, especially if there's children involved and there's going to be contested issues. Would you agree with that? Yes.
And in fact, I would say even beyond children, because luckily there are parents that do continue to get along even throughout a divorce process. What does sometimes happen in a divorce is that people have assets that they are unaware that their spouse has. And so there's a process called discovery that can be engaged in to make sure that you are totally aware of what your spouse has and to ensure that you are getting your equitable share.
Okay. Now I'm going to go back to Rosanna because she didn't get a chance. How do things operate up in Cook County? If it's contested, do you recommend they have counsel? How can they get counsel? What's your experience up here? If people I know you mentioned about the services that are available for people that don't have the means, can waive the clerk's fee. But are there avenues available for helping get legal assistance up here in Cook County?
Yes, and I'll try to answer your question. There's quite a few subparts there. So I agree with Judge Campbell, and I think the process in Cook County is very similar. Anytime that you do have access to a lawyer, that would be preferable because they are going to walk you through all the minutia, because the statute is a very thick statute and the law where it comes to dissolution of marriage, and you could get very easily tripped up without realizing that you forgot something. So I think it's very wise to consult a lawyer. For the individuals that believe that maybe retaining a lawyer is not possible, there are several services also here in Cook County. Going through the ISBA lawyer referral, I think, is an excellent way to start to get a referral through there. You can also go to legal aid services here in Cook County. And in particular, I'm currently assigned in Rolling Meadows. We have a help desk, which is like the Zoom courtrooms where you can just go into the Zoom and talk to a volunteer lawyer that you can ask a question or two and they can walk you through that. I think that that is an exceptional way, just in case. And some issues are too complicated and you would want to have a lawyer, because the result is coming back 10 years and then really spending upwards of 20 to 30,000 to correct something that can be very easily resolved on the front end. So I do always recommend that.
So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of gain, basically. What
Absolutely.
And last but not least, let's not forget that the sponsor of this consumer web video is our Illinois State Bar Bench and Bar Council, which is comprised of lawyers who practice in the area, although I'm a member and don't practice in the area, and judges, many of which handle these type of cases. And they're all excellent people that are a resource that could be contacted in the case of someone looking for assistance in this area or this venue. And any closing comments, Judge Campbell, do you have any closing comments before we turn off the camera?
The only suggestion I would give for people that still feel like they need more resources is the Public Interest Law Initiative does something called Free Legal Answers on their website. And so if you are inclined, you can post a question on that site in which attorneys throughout the state of Illinois commit pro bono hours to answering those questions. So I would encourage anybody that has a question after watching this video, go check that out, and it might be a valuable resource for you.
And Judge Fernandez, any closing comment you might have?
Yes, just a little caveat. I agree with Judge Campbell. I think that's a wonderful resource, but you have to be careful not to get legal advice from non-legal entities, because sometimes they're giving you information that's actually going to give you a long and big headache in the long run. It's always wiser to reach out to the legal entities and to get the right answer and the appropriate answer.
Okay, I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedules here today to help enlighten the public who have an interest in this area. And wish you both a very lovely rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck. Thank you.